Hello and welcome. My name is Carsten Lützen. I'm an Agile coach and a Scrum Master. In this video I will share something you can use as a check-in exercise, energizer, icebreaker, whatever you call it. But it's a pretty good thing to do, especially now when people are in many places coming back from vacation or returning to office. So just to keep a focus point on this mental health, and if people are starting to feel worn out or stressed. It's a battery exercise. Many different versions of this exist. There's also one where you use a thermometer instead, but the battery in itself is quite a simple and nice metaphor to use. The classic way of doing this is asking people, so what charges your battery and what drains your battery? And the problem with that, or whatever you would call it, for me at least, is of course what charges people is often having a time off, time with friends, families, fun assignments, and what drains the battery is often tedious chores and stuff like that. And that's probably not where we need to put the most focus. I would like to just ask something before we talk about that. That I think is a quite important change to this. So I would like to focus on signs of change. So what are the signs of a positive change? What are the signs of my battery getting charged? How do I notice that my battery is getting charged? How do I notice that I'm getting more energy? How does my team notice that my battery has been charged? And even though it can seem a bit problem focused, then what are the signs of my battery being drained? And the reason why I think it's actually important to also focus on this is we need to know what are the signs, what are the warning signs that something is not as it should be. For me, for instance, I know when I'm commuting to work, if I turn off the radio to just sit in silence, that means that something is not as it's supposed to be, because then all of a sudden I need this quiet time, which is not what I normally do. I normally listen to a podcast or the radio or music. And that's a telltale sign for me that I need to look at what am I currently working with. Is there something I need to change? How can I make this sustainable? Because at the moment it is not. And these signs of drains of our battery is super important that we know and that we also say them out loud, because some of them might not be, for instance, that you turn off the radio when you're commuting. They can also be more subtle or something that it's easier for other people to spot. And when we have talked about these signs of charge, of how can we see that our battery is getting charged, and these signs of drains, then we can start to look at actions that I can do. For instance, if a sign of a charged battery is that I'm sharing something, or I'm giving cake or whatever, right? Then what can we do to make that happen? Okay, so maybe doing X or Y, Z. And what are the signs of a drain? Then what can I do? So, as I said, a sign for me is if I turn off the radio in the car. That's a sign of drain. What I can do is I then need to look at what are the assignments, the tasks I'm working on at the moment, and is there any of these I can maybe hand over to somebody else, or talk to my manager, or talk to the team and saying that I need some help on this. And that's quite important that we get to this point as well. But do not just look at what activities charges your battery, what activities drains your battery. Start out by looking at signs of this instead. So I'm hoping that this has given you some ideas on how to use some metaphor like this battery, for instance, to help the team focus on what gives them energy and what drains energy from the team, and how do they notice that. And as always, comments, questions, ideas, and feedback for these videos are more than welcome. So that was it for me this time. Have a super, super awesome day.